Hey guys, Jared James here, and welcome to this week's edition of your virtual coaching, virtual training broadcast. It is April 22nd. I'm straight back from April or spring break with my family. I know a lot of you were out as well. Whether you stayed home, whether you went away, I hope that you've had a good time, that you're relaxed, you're refreshed. Some of you didn't go away. Hopefully you're still relaxed and refreshed. Want to always, as always, guys, say welcome to our new members. If you have questions, the best place to post those is below you. There's a link to our Facebook group. If you go into Facebook, you just put in Jared James Coaching. That's the best place to put in a question, because you'll not only hear from me, but you'll hear from thousands of people who have done what it is that you want to do from all over the world. I love everything that goes on in there. You can also send me questions. You can DM them to me, direct message. You can do it by going to connectwithjared.com. Again, that link is below you as well, connectwithjared.com. And you can send me questions on Instagram is probably number one. And then you can send me questions on Facebook or any of these other places. A lot of you post questions on my YouTube videos too, which is also cool. Whatever way you want to get it done, you can do all of that. But either way, I want to say welcome to you. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet for the advance, get them, guys. Prices keep going up and up. So you know you want to be there in Nashville. Stop waiting and get it done. I promise you, you won't regret it, okay? What I want to talk to you about today, like usual with these guys, I like to keep them quick, short, something that's a reminder to you. But I also want to say something that I think matters, something that's going to change what you're doing within that week. And a lot of times it comes from what I'm feeling from you guys and the questions that I'm getting from you. And lately, it's not even the questions that I've been getting. It's that I've been getting a lot of messages from people about listings that they're now getting that they never thought that they would get. And they're telling me stories about how, they're using our marketing letters and using the things that are available to you guys on your dashboard. And they never wanted to do it. They never thought it would work. They did it once. It didn't work. But their coach made them do it. And because they're spending money for their coach, they said, what the heck, at least I'll do it. At least then I can tell them that I tried it and it doesn't work. And I've probably got anywhere, I think 3 or 4 messages this week just from the people who have decided to DM me that have told me they've gotten listings off of the new listing prospecting letter and the buyer neighborhood letter and the buyer's offer not accepted letter and all of these kinds of things, but especially the new listing letter, because they stayed consistent. And they're like, I've been sending these out for months and months, and all of a sudden I got 3 listings this week. All of a sudden I got 2 listings. All of a sudden I got 1 listing. All of a sudden. And many of you know that all of a sudden very rarely actually happened all of a sudden, right? It's a process that accumulates to a moment that you can pinpoint, but it's not really an all of a sudden. It's because of what you've done all along, right? And I've gotten a lot of those kind of comments this week and messages this week, and I've got a lot of messages from people about lead conversion, and they finally converted some people, and they've been waiting so long, and they thought they were dead, and it was all about this thing called consistency, right? And consistency to many entrepreneurs is a bad word. Maybe we don't think of it as a bad word, but it's something that we struggle with because entrepreneurs by their very nature, which many of you are if you're in this industry, are fly by the seat of your pants mentality. Like that's how you think. That's how you see opportunities. What's the next thing? And we never want to squash that because that's obviously an important part of you, which is what even drives your engine and puts you in a position where you get into a commission-only business to begin with. But consistency is the only thing that will give you consistent results, right? And the only way we stay consistent is by having a calendar, which you've heard me talk about many times. And yet people struggle with having a calendar. And, one of the things that I don't share with a lot of people a lot is, although I have a calendar that's generally booked with a lot of things and, has a lot of different things in it, I also tend to schedule my calendar for different times. I tend to break it into different categories, right? So I think I said on a Jared James Today show on YouTube at one point that I break my day into CEO time and I break my day into entrepreneurial time, right? Where I'm going to be an entrepreneur now. I think like that. A lot of you need to be looking at your calendar when it comes to the position of being consistent, and you need to start breaking it not only in having specific things in specific areas, but you need to also make the mental shift of this is when I'm a marketer, this is when I'm a CEO, this is when, and you start actually breaking there, because what happens is that you give your mind permission to go that route, right? So the mind of a marketer is completely different than the mind of a pure, CEO, which is completely different than the mind of an entrepreneur, which is completely different than the mind of an admin, which is completely different. And so for me, what helps me by breaking into that CEO time, entrepreneurial time, and those other things is that I literally give my mind permission to think like that, to act like that. Because sometimes what happens when you don't do that is you're always in the same mindset, but then trying to do different things that don't fit that mindset. And then you wonder why you're not sticking with it. And the calendar and categorizing our calendar in this way helps us because, look, we're about to head into the busiest season of the year, okay? And I can promise you, most of you, many of you are already there because the business is so cyclical. And I can promise you that if you're not keeping a calendar now, there is no way that you're going to keep it moving forward, right? When it gets busy. If you're not keeping it before you get busy, I promise you that you will not keep it when the time gets crazy, okay? And so today is here to kind of serve, I'm here to kind of serve as a reminder, as a little bit of a nudge to say, hey, what are you doing every single day? Are you keeping that calendar? Maybe we need to get a little more specific with that calendar. Maybe we need to categorize that calendar. Maybe because when you don't do that, your business goes very much like this, right? And when it goes down like this, because we weren't consistent, what ultimately happens is that we start to feel desperate. And here's what I know. Desperate feelings don't lead to consistent actions, okay? Desperate feelings lead to desperate actions. And desperate actions very rarely give us the long-term solutions, the long-term results that you're ultimately looking for, right? And so what a lot of you need to be asking yourself right now as we start to look at, what am I doing every day? How consistent am I being? Am I keeping my calendar in track? What am I willing to do consistently? What you need to be asking yourself today, there's an old saying, it's kind of cheesy, but it's just very true. It says, what am I willing to do that my future self, what am I willing to do today that my future self will thank me for? You guys have all heard that, right? But what you really need to be asking yourself right now is, what will 6 months from now, will I be wishing that I started today? Right? Because that's ultimately what happens. I mean, I just got back from vacation, and everybody a week before the vacation is dieting and trying to get, bathing suit ready and swimsuit ready and doing these things. And yet the truth is, the time to start that was 6 months ago, 12 months ago. It's too late at that point, right? And very rarely at the time that you actually need the closing to happen is when you can create those closings. Because this is such a cyclical business, we've got to start where we're doing, months ago. And so I want you to be asking yourself, 6 months from now, what will you hope that you had listened to this and started today? Okay. What will you regret 6 months from now not starting today? That is my question to you today. What will you regret 6 months from now that you will regret not starting today? That you'll say in 6 months, I got to do this. Well, if you'd only started 6 months ago, right? Because we don't want desperate actions to ultimately lead to desperate decisions. We want consistency. How do you get that consistency? You get that consistency through a calendar. And how do you keep that calendar? Number one, you just keep the calendar. And number two, one of the ways that kind of helps me and would probably help a lot of you is you categorize the times in that calendar. Like, you break it up. This time to this time is entrepreneurial time. This time to this time is CEO time. This time to this time is marketing time. This time to this time is ISA time. This time to this time, depending on the structure of your business, right? And I'm personally, whenever I deal with anybody, guys, whenever I'm talking to somebody, I'm coaching to somebody, I'm coaching somebody, I'm helping them on whatever it is, I am not interested in what you're willing to do next week, okay? I'm not interested in what you're willing to do today if I can motivate you to do it. All I'm ever interested in is what you're still going to be doing a year from now, what you're still going to be doing 6 months from now, what you're still going to be doing 2 years from now. That's the only thing that matters. And I think like that all the time. Whenever we talk about implementing something within our company or doing something different or doing whatever, I think about it myself all the time. Are we still going to be doing this 8 months from now? If we're not, then I don't have any interest. I don't have any interest in one-offs. I don't have any interest in, okay, what are you still willing to be doing 8 months from now, 12 months from now? What promise are you willing to make to yourself? What promise are you willing to make to your coach? What promise are you willing to make to say, I'm not being consistent with this right now, but I ultimately want to be one of those people that is sending Jared a message 8 months from now and saying, I got 3 listings off my new listing prospecting letter. Because we all love the story. We love to see it. We love to hear that story and go, ugh. And we love to put ourselves in that place and say, that could be me. That should be me. But you have to ultimately pay the price of consistency in order for that to be you. Because I don't know how many testimonials and stories and these things we can tell you where someone goes, my God, that used to be me listening to people doing that. It used to be me who would see people having those results. And now they're having those results. You have to be willing to pay the price of consistency, not for the next day, not for the next 2 weeks, not for the next 4 weeks, for the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. What are you willing to consistently do that you're not doing right now? That is the question that I want you to be asking yourself, okay? So guys, consistent is the word of the day. I hope you enjoyed this. Watch it as many times as you need to, guys. As I said in the beginning, post your questions. I'll answer your questions. Go to connectwithjared.com, DM me on Instagram or something like that. And guys, get your tickets to the Advance in Nashville. I can't wait. We're about to release the agenda. I've been working on it tirelessly, so I can't wait to see you guys there. It's going to be a good one, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this. Talk to you soon.